Hello, my name is Anna and I love trying vintage recipes. So today I'm trying 3 recipes from the 1970s that are especially for kids. All of today's recipes come to us from Betty Crocker's cookbook for boys and girls. I am revisiting this cookbook and I'll talk more about it a little bit later. We are going to have fun today. I really love vintage cookbooks that were written for kids, and I do have several in my collection, and most of them have some really surprisingly great recipes in them. Now, I tried to choose 3 recipes that would fit varying skill sets and ages. Anything from something simple that you don't even have to cook all the way up to like a main dish for a meal for dinner. So hopefully there's a little something for everyone in this video. Let's get started. Now I'm trying out this friendly dog salad. How cute is that? I mean, honestly, this recipe is mostly about following this picture. This is really making me think of the grape surprise salad that I made a long time ago. And I'll link it in the description down below if you haven't watched it, but it's basically a very similar thing with like fruit that is made to look like a bunch of grapes. I need a pear. Let's see if this one looks like a good shape. Blot it a little bit with some paper towels. And these are just canned pear halves. Where do we want Snoopy's nose? Think that. Oh my gosh, I love it already. Cut the prune lengthwise in half with scissors and take out the pit. Well, guess what? In this day and age, we now have pitted prunes. And that's what I have here. And I thought when I saw this one, I was like, that is the ear. Like that is the perfect ear. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. Oh, and here's a funny part. So it says after you take the pit out of the prune, you're supposed to eat the other prune half. Scoop out, what? Wait, scoop out a tiny hole in the pear half for the eye with a teaspoon. I don't think I need to do that because the eye is a raisin. The eye is a raisin and it sticks right on. I'm not gonna scoop out a little hole. Cut the maraschino cherry in half with scissors. Place one half at the top of the narrow end. So which one is better? Maybe this one. Heck yes. I love this salad so much. I'm gonna eat salad every day if this looks like this. And then use the mandarin orange segments for the collar. So I have some mandarin orange segments. Again, I'm just gonna take 2 and blot them. This is adorable. This is adorable and fun. I'm having a ton of fun. Imagine how much fun a kid would have. So the grape surprise salad that I made, you used like cream cheese. You used cream cheese that was thinned with a little milk to make things like stick. But I think this is doing a pretty good job. Let's see, what do we think? What do we think? Too funny. How did I do? How did I do? I'm pretty happy about it. Let's be honest, this recipe is more about appearance than it is taste. I think this could be a fun thing to do with kids. You could also put out, just like lay out some different types of fruits and vegetables and be like, have a good time, make your own faces and like shapes and stuff. But like, this is just, you know, one that's in the book, you know, to get you started. And then, yeah, I've seen these kinds of salads in kids' cookbooks pretty often, so you can get a lot of different ideas. Do I even taste this? It's pear. Yes, I know it's pear. We'll go pear and maraschino cherry. It tastes like fruit cocktail. I love a canned mandarin orange segment. What is it about that? I really like to eat them with cottage cheese. But yeah, this was just a really fun little recipe. You know, if you have kids and you want to get them interested in doing things in the kitchen, or maybe they have an interest and you don't quite know, like, are they ready to use knives and actually use like the stove and stuff? Maybe you want to start them off on something a little easier, or maybe they're really little. I think this would be a good one to try. I'm trying these quick energy pickups, and I am going to be making a full batch, but you have a couple of options. So if you look at the note down here, it says that you can either use graham cracker crumbs or coconut. So yes, I'm making a full batch of these, but I wanted to try both kinds. So I split up all of my ingredients. We're going to make 2 varieties. So this is the coconut side. This is the graham cracker crumb side. You're supposed to crush your graham crackers first, did that. So now I just have to mix everything. Some powdered sugar in there. Some crunchy peanut butter. Do that one too. And semi-sweet chocolate chips. I'm using mini chocolate chips. I just thought they would kind of work a little bit better. And I had some on hand anyway, so why not? Some instant non-fat dry milk, which I had in my pantry. And so graham cracker crumbs for this one and shredded coconut for this one. And then each one gets a bit of water Now I kind of want to use a hand mixer. I feel like because this is a kid's cookbook, maybe part of what you're doing here is getting them to stir stuff by hand to work out a little bit of energy. So I'll try it by hand. Not too bad. It's not too difficult. I have a nice big spatula with a very strong handle, and that helps. I think that looks pretty good. So now let's see how the graham cracker crumb variety does. This one feels easier, but I think it takes longer to incorporate everything. That's the way I'm seeing it anyway. I almost feel like this one's drier, like it could use a little bit more water. You know what? I'm gonna add just like maybe a teaspoon, not very much. I know I'm straying from the recipe just a tad, but my thought is that the graham cracker crumbs are very dry. So it's like powdered sugar, graham cracker crumbs, non-fat dry milk, and it's just kind of sucked up all the water. Whereas this one does not have the graham cracker crumbs in it. So I'm just gonna put like a tiny bit, not very much at all. That was probably half a teaspoon of water. That helped. Yeah, just like an extra drop of water in this really helped. That's what we've got going on here. So now I need to scoop these. So I scoop, roll them into balls, and then I roll one in graham cracker crumbs and one in coconut. Okay, so you know what? This one's closer. Let's start here. So I have this small, like 1 inch or so scoop. I thought that would help me here. Roll. And I'm putting these on just little sheet pans on wax paper because I do have to refrigerate them. That's what it looks like when you do the graham cracker one. So I'm gonna finish doing this and then I'll start scooping the coconut and pick this back up. So there's the graham cracker variety. And I started rolling the coconut ones. It does take a little bit more to get the coconut to stick to these. So the dough it's softer and less dry, but getting something to stick on the outside like coconut isn't quite as easy. And I feel like the ultimate combination would be put the coconut in the mixture and then roll these in graham cracker crumbs, and then you get all of it, right? Just made a little mess. I probably should have done a slightly bigger bowl, but I'm not turning back now. Anyway, I am gonna continue to roll these, and then I need to refrigerate all of them for 20 minutes. So here are both varieties of quick energy pickups. And there's a photo of these. It wasn't on the same page as the recipe, so that's why I didn't notice right away, but that's what they look like right there. Also, I love this page. Love this page so much. So these are fun. These are no cook. These would be something fun to put together with kids for maybe their lunchbox. You know, you just put a couple in their lunchbox as a little treat, because let's face it, like there's powdered sugar, they're sweet, okay? This is like a sweet treat. They do kind of make me think of the energy balls or energy bites that people have been making for like the last, I don't know, 5-10 years. Maybe with some different ingredients like oats and raisins and protein powder and stuff. These are a little bit more candy-like, but they are, I think, gonna be really tasty. Let's start. I did refrigerate these, so they firmed up a bit. So I'm gonna start with one of the graham cracker ones. A little crumbly. It tastes very good. If you like peanut butter, you're gonna love these. This recipe uses crunchy peanut butter, which I don't typically buy. I'm more of a smooth peanut butter person, but the crunchy peanut butter is very nice in these. It gives it a nice textural element. So now I'm gonna try one of the coconut ones. Okay, the coconut's shedding a little bit. The coconut ones are just slightly less sweet. I think you could also, if you wanted to like cut back maybe a little bit on the sweetness, you could use natural peanut butter. But I think these are tasty little treats. You can kind of make them different sizes if you want to go bigger or smaller. I went with, I think this is like a teaspoon scoop, and that seems about right to me. Just a fun little thing to make, you know, with your kids, with your nieces and nephews, or if you just want to make them for yourself. I'm trying to decide if I have a favorite. I like them both for different reasons. I think the graham cracker crumb ones, they are a little bit more dry, but they're also a little bit easier to eat. I think the shredded coconut might be hard for some people to get through. I know some people don't like coconut. I love it. So, you know, those people can have the graham cracker ones. I like them both, really. Moving on to these no-crust wide-eyed pizzas. These, in fact, the very ones that are featured on the front cover. And that is handwriting. That is my mother's handwriting. Apparently we did make these and they were good, as you can see. I always have to laugh a little bit when I see a recipe for no-crust pizza, because that means it's a hamburger patty. Almost always. And if you say to someone, we are having pizza, you know, this is not what they're gonna think of. So these are kind of like decorative hamburger patties. Heat oven to 425, done. Measure out the tomato sauce. So I have all of the tomato sauce for the entire recipe here, but I need to divide it. So I need to take some of it out of here to use right away and then save some for a little bit later. Mix the ground beef, breadcrumbs, the tomato sauce, half of it, salt or oregano. So I've got some ground beef here and just some dry breadcrumbs. These are plain breadcrumbs, and the tomato sauce that I just measured out. It's like we're making tiny meatloaves here. I have some salt and some oregano. Get this out of the way. And it says to mix all of that with a fork. I'm done with this fork nonsense here. I just wash my hands really well. I'm going in. Clean hands are really some of the best tools. And maybe because this is a children's cookbook, they were thinking like kids may not be into this part. I don't know, some of them might. Some of them might be like, this is squishy and fun. I don't know. But when I'm making meatloaf and meatballs and stuff, like I just use my hands. Heck yeah, that was very speedy. Divide the ground beef mixture into, in this case, 2 equal parts. I'm cutting this recipe in half, and place parts several inches apart on an ungreased jelly roll pan. So I do have a small like rimmed pan here. I'm just gonna eyeball it. You could weigh these if you really wanted to. And it says to pat each into a circle about 1/2 inch thick. So you're kind of making like hamburger patties. Like you're gonna go ahead and grill these babies. You're not gonna grill them, you're gonna bake them in the oven, but I'm just saying. That's pretty good. I'm supposed to pinch the edges. You see what I did there? I don't know if you can really tell, but I made like a little edge. My circle, not perfect, but it's okay. So now I'm gonna do sort of the same thing. And I guess when I do make patties to go on the grill, I do sort of like make an indentation in the middle. So that may be what they're trying to showcase here. That's what we have. Those are my shaped patties. So that reserved tomato sauce is coming back. So this is to pour about 2 tablespoons in the center of each of these patties and kind of like spread it. So I guess this makes it pizza. We're doing it. And this is plain tomato sauce. Like me personally, I probably would go with like a pizza sauce that was seasoned. So now these need to go into a 425-degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes. So there are my cooked patties. I baked these for I think 17 minutes. So basically you're baking the patties themselves until they are done. And that's when you have the fun part, the garnishes that make the funny faces. These really remind me of the funny face hamburgers that I made, by the way. Sprinkle each pizza with about 2 tablespoons of shredded mozzarella cheese and about 2 tablespoons of shredded cheddar. For garnishes, you can see here, follow the picture. We've got some olives, some cheese, and some pimento. Now, maybe you're saying, I don't like olives, my kids don't like olives. Like, come up with your own ideas. I would say like pickle slices, I don't know, any number of things really. You could even do like pieces of pepperoni. So let's give this a shot. I measured the amount of cheese they like have in the recipe. I'm not gonna use all of it because it seems like there's more than I need. And you can probably use like whatever cheese you want. So really, I've been kind of thinking about it. You could, if you have smaller kids, you could probably get the pizzas / patties up to this point, like the baked point, take them off this pan and then let the kids decorate. So if you're thinking like, I don't want to let my kid use the oven or whatever, I mean, of course, I'm sure you're supervising because you're a great parent, but they still want to participate and they're maybe a little younger, let them decorate things or garnish things like this. You can kind of get creative however you want. So that's the cheese. And I have both black and green olives. Let's do some green olives. Okay, those are 2, you know what, we'll leave it. The olives are 2 different sizes. I don't care. It's just what they look like. We've got black olives. This is amazing. This, you can really, honestly though, I'm seeing owls. Like you could make a little beak. I'm gonna stick to this, but man, like, wow, I'm seeing owls here for some reason. There's some like unhappy faces. I'll make an unhappy face, I guess. I don't know. I like to keep things pretty positive on this channel. I want to make a happy face. We're going to turn the frown upside down. You know what? We have the ability to do that right now. We can make a choice here. I'm going to make you happy too. I'm happy to be doing this. Okay. I made 2 happy patties. So now I just have to put these back in the oven for 5 minutes until this melts. Can you handle it? Something I didn't think about, clearly, your toppings are gonna travel a little bit. Like I had these black olives very close together and they kind of spread out. I didn't put these green olives close enough together, and you can see, you know, they ended up a little bit in a different position than I expected. It's fine. Okay. I am just gonna like cut a piece off of one of these. I'm not gonna eat both of these. I'll save one for later. Let's just cut one. Oh, this feels morbid. This feels bad. Just cut his little face. You know, I have a vague idea of what this is gonna taste like. Kind of meatloafy with cheese and stuff, but we'll try it anyway. It's good. It's really good. It tastes like a pizza burger. Cheesy, tomatoey kind of meatloaf situation. Or meatballs. So it tastes pretty good. It tastes very good, actually. I could definitely see this being served as a main dish to your family. Your kids would probably have a lot of fun making it and be really proud of themselves, you know? I think if it's an older kid, they might be able to do most, if not all of this work themselves. If you have younger kids, maybe, you know, let them help you mix the meat mixture, but you do the patties in the oven part. And then after those come out of the oven, you let the kids decorate them. I don't know. I don't have kids, but it sounds right to me. Anyway, I think this recipe might be a heck of a lot of fun for you or your family to try. Today I'm talking about Betty Crocker's cookbook for boys and girls. There have been many versions of this cookbook from the 50s on up, but this is the version I grew up with. This particular book was published in '85, but the recipes inside, it even says they were selected from the 1975 version of Betty Crocker's cookbook for boys and girls. And I do have 2 copies. I've talked about this before. This is the actual copy that I grew up with. This was mine, and it is well loved. The spine is a mess. You know, there's just stuff on the pages. So when I found this other copy that is spiral bound and, you know, you can lay it flat, it's a little bit easier to use, but I will never part with this one. This one is very special to me. In fact, another little special thing that it means a lot to me, there's a little spot here, and Dottie, my dog that we had to say goodbye to, she actually, she nibbled that when she was a puppy. So no, I will never part with this one, even though it's kind of a mess. Vintage children's cookbooks are one of my favorite types. Like, I know that's very specific, and I have several of them. I have talked about many of them on this channel. I actually have an entire playlist, so I'll go ahead and link that in the description down below if you'd like to check out more kids' recipes. I've talked about how much I love Betty Crocker's cookie book. I mean, this is probably tied. This image of these pizzas, no-crust pizzas, like, this is burned into my brain forever, what they look like. So many groovy photos in here, and they're colorful and they're wonderful. I mean, look at that. Another photograph that is just like burned into my mind is this one. It's for like a pink meringue pie. I dream of the day that I find these oven mitts. Oh my goodness, those would be the crown jewel of my collection if I ever get my hands on those. Holy cow, like, they are just perfect. I just have such fond memories of this book. I mean, you can probably imagine, I loved being in the kitchen growing up. I was very interested. I always wanted to like be in there trying things, doing things. So my mom would give me like little jobs to do when I was really young. You know, as I got older and she could trust me more, I did get to try a lot of recipes. Some of them came from this book. Some of them came from this book. So there's a lot of good information here for people who are just starting out, even things like utensils and tools and things like that, ways to measure. You know, if I have someone in my life, they want to learn more about cooking, they don't really know where to start, and they come to me and like, what cookbook should I get? Oftentimes, I do recommend children's cookbooks, and it's like not to be like, you know, oh, you can't handle anything else. It's just that like a lot of the children's cookbooks out there, vintage or not, they have a lot of great recipes in them, and they really tend to thoroughly explain the steps, you know, everything. And they have sections like this that can show people how to get started. These are designed to be simpler, you know, like easier to read, easier to understand. And that can go a long way if you're not used to being in the kitchen. I did show this photo a little bit earlier for one of my recipes, but just like that font, that orange font, stuff to snack on, that TV, like this is perfect. I just love it. So this stuff right here, I think this is funny. This is called like tomato mush. And it's like, I think it's kind of like tomato juice blended carrot, celery, and tomato juice. And it's like a savory veggie smoothie. That is not something I probably would have been into as a kid. And I don't even know. I don't even know if I'd be into it now. Maybe, you know what? Maybe your kid's an adventurous eater and they would love some tomato mush, but I feel like that one would be a little bit of a hard sell. Oh, I remember these two. I think I did try making the teddy bear paws. So that's these. And it's like kind of a plain sugar cookie dough with some jam in it, raspberry jam. Look at those. Who had bologna bowls growing up? I know I did. So these are eggs and bologna cups. We made our bologna bowls in the microwave. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you microwave a piece of bologna until it curls up into like a bowl shape. Kind of like this, but these are fancier. These are the fancy version. These no-crust wide-eyed pizzas, you know, and I showed you while I was making them. My mom actually wrote that they were good. I kind of vaguely remember making them, but it's been a very long time. I was definitely a kid. And she said they were good, and they were. Oh, I really liked those, but we'll talk more about the recipes in a minute. The other recipe that I considered in here, because I have made a couple on this channel already. So the first recipe that I ever made from this book for one of my videos was the ghost cake with flaming eyes. This guy right here. Oh, I was so excited to make it. I wanted to make this as a kid. I never did. It took until I was 40 years old to make this cake, and it was totally worth it, even if it was a little bit of a disaster, but I had fun anyway. And then I made, I don't know if there's a photo of this one. Oh no, they do have one. Okay, one moment, I'll find the photo. So I made peach double-deckers. Yes. I made the peach double-deckers. That was for a Peaches collaboration that I did. So I'll go ahead and link both of those videos in the description down below. These were super easy. They used like a pie crust mix, but they were so good. Like such an easy and kind of fancy looking dessert, really. But I did consider one other recipe to make for this video in place of the wide-eyed, what are they? No-crust wide-eyed pizzas. And that was this. The polka dot pizza. And that's like, it's like a pizza crust and you put hot dogs on it. And I don't know, something about this photo just makes me want to make it. And it always has. So maybe someday I'll make one of these polka dot pizzas for you, but I thought the other recipe I made, these guys right here, I thought these had a little bit more visual impact, if you will. You know, I think you can tell how much I love this cookbook. I mean, I would sit and I would look through the cookie book, and then I would sit and I would look through this book. So there's a lot of different sections to this. You know, you have your main dishes, you have your snacks, you have your vegetables and fruits, like your salad kind of chapter, breads, you know, so it has a super wide array of choices. And I think this book could fit a lot of different skill sets too. And I still recommend this book today, like this exact book, because it does have so many different things. And, you know, most of the recipes I've tried in here are pretty good. Where's the ski chalet? This was another photograph that people really seem to remember. So there's a cookie, I keep pointing over here. My cookie book is over here. So sorry. I always remember people talking about the cookie house in the cookie book. And then there's also this photo in Betty Crocker's Cookbook for Boys and Girls. And this is the cookie ski chalet. And it's like a little A-frame house. So cute. And I think this is another image that sticks with a lot of people who saw this cookbook or had it growing up. Just so much fun for kids. I mean, so much fun for me. I'm having a great time. Let's look at the things I made today. So we started off with the friendly dog salad. I mean, of course, technically, you're not really cooking anything. You're kind of assembling things into a composed salad. But how much fun was it? You know, I think really little kids could have a great time with this, whether they're following this exact image or, you know, there are other types of salads like this out there. I have my grape surprise salad that I made. There's even this one. I don't think that they, in this particular edition, they don't give like a photo for this yellow-haired girl salad, but it's kind of the same idea where you take pieces of fruits and you put them together and you make a fun thing. One more, let me show you this one. Look how fun. Cottage cheese in the middle of watermelon with blueberry. Like that's adorable, that star salad. But I think, you know, this is the type of thing where kids can get pretty creative and you can just kind of pull some different fruits, whether they're fresh or canned, whatever you think would go together. And people can use their imagination, you know, they can make their own thing. I also made these. These are the quick energy pickups. I think we know that the energy in these comes from sugar, and that's okay. That is totally fine. You make these into pretty small pieces. They're definitely more of a treat, like a candy or a cookie or something. You know, they're like a little bit of a dessert. They're so easy to make. So if you need something sweet and you don't want to like preheat the oven and like make a cake or cookies or whatever, this is something great. You know, I have all of these ingredients in my pantry most of the time. And you know, you can do different things if you want to use like natural peanut butter, that's fine. You can cut out the chocolate chips and put raisins. I don't know that your kids are going to be as happy with that, but we'll see. You know, they're definitely a little bit of a treat. I made both versions. I didn't really like one more than the other. I just kind of liked them a little bit differently. I'm a fan of coconut. I like shredded coconut. So those were great to me, but the graham cracker version was also really good. So I was happy with both. The pièce de résistance, the no-crust wide-eyed pizzas. I love them. I love them. They remind me of those funny face hamburgers that I made, I guess last year at this point, but I like these better. They tasted a lot better, that's for sure. Something about, and they, I think I said that the funny face hamburgers were like a little scary looking, something about like wrapping that dough and then like cutting out the mouth and stuff. Like, I don't know. Some people said they were cute and some people said they were scary. I'm leaning a little scary, but these are kind of cute, you know? These are kind of cute. I think the meat itself like tasted a lot better than what was in those. I don't know if it's because the meat was like allowed to get a little bit more brown in the oven since it didn't have any like dough wrapped around it. But honestly, like that mixture by itself, I think you could shape that. If you didn't want to go all out and make these like with faces and stuff, I think you could shape that into little meatloaves or little meatballs and it would be pretty great, you know? If your kids want to help you, but maybe they're younger or maybe they're just like not used to being in the kitchen yet, it's great that they can just decorate them too. Kind of almost like decorating a cookie with, but it's not, it's meat. It's not a cookie, but it's still fun, right? And you can go by, you know, their ideas here in the book, or you can come up with your own thing. So I hope this video could provide you with a little bit of inspiration or maybe remind you of a recipe you haven't made in a while. If you love vintage cookbooks that are especially for kids, I have an entire playlist and I will link it in the description down below. If you'd like to see some additional content from me, you can join me over on Patreon. I'll leave a link in the description down below if you're interested. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.